This locality in Indian capital New Delhi bears an eerie silence. It all started on 20th May. A day before his birthday, Congolese national Masonda Ketanda Olivier was beaten to death by a mob of men late at night. The police said the incident was a result of a fight, but Olivier's brother Michel says it was a case of hate crime.
We are African students or African national here. Since we reached this country, we live every single day something racism in this country. Everywhere, in the house, when you rent a house, when you take auto, when you take even taxi, everything. When even in the public places, we always face racism. I think Olivia has been the victim of that racism also.
For 2 weeks now, the Indian government has been firefighting after a number of African diplomats decided to boycott an event celebrating India-Africa ties. Even as Africans are calling Olivier's murder a testimony of discrimination and racism against Africans who live and work in India, the Indian government, despite clear evidence of racism, is refusing to accept that the murder was a hate crime.
This is gruesome crime, but it's not a case of racial discrimination.
But Africans are not ready to buy the argument. There are a few thousand African nationals who live in India. Many of them are students and they live in colonies like these. They say they are victims of racism on a daily basis. 6 days after Olivier's death, Lucky was also a victim of what he calls a racist attack. He got stitches on his nose and says he managed to escape before things got worse. Lucky, who is from Nigeria, moved to India only in November 2015 to do business.
Many people, they are scared right now. What is going on in the country is not really good. You're giving them it's giving them the image, a bad image, because what they are doing to foreigners is not really good, because they have to try and limit and try to embrace everybody as one.
India has a long history of racism against Africans. The Indian government's decision to remain steadfast on the stand that the instances are not related to racism is only making things worse. Africans staying in India are feeling unsafe. Ola Jason, who is an actor, has been living in India for over 5 years. He is the coordinator of the People Movement in Delhi against the racist attacks. He tells CCTV that from taking an apartment on rent, walking on the streets to doing daily chores like buying groceries, every day is a struggle. He adds that Indians don't have enough knowledge about the African culture, making them believe in stereotypes.
There were 2 of them because they were blacks, and a lot of them, they rushed them, and one escaped, and the other one could not escape because he fell down, and they shelled him to death with a brick stone. Why? Okay, what would that have been called, if not a racial attack?
There are about 30,000 African students in India, and racial slurs are common. For the African community, Olivier's murder was the final straw. Even though most ministers in India have condemned the attack, few others have called it an isolated one, which was a result of a minor scuffle. India and African nations have good diplomatic relations, but this time round, Africa is expecting India to take strong action to ensure safety of its citizens. Shweta Bajaj, CCTV, New Delhi.